Hello everyone, welcome back to the SMITE Comprehensive Guide to Solo. This is Achilles. Now, I've been looking forward to this episode for a while. I don't build Achilles like a lot of other people. Alright, I don't go ability-based Achilles. I personally find Achilles more effective as an auto-attacker. Now that the shock is over, I have a very specific reason for finding this more effective. Actually, a couple of specific reasons. His second ability buffs his protections and his power by a percentage. He gets 20% increased protections, he gets 10% increased power. Now, when you buff power, 100%, at least with physical characters like Achilles, that 100% of that power is going to your auto attacks. Now, Achilles' abilities don't scale at 100%. Well, his ult scales at 100%, but that's usually used for executions anyways. So, in all honesty, that doesn't really make a difference. Right? You don't often use the scaling out of his ult. Maybe the last hit you'll use the scaling on, but generally speaking, it's not really something you see a lot of. So, generally speaking, you don't use that scaling, but his shield slam only has 80% scaling, and his dodge only has, I think, 65%. But his auto attacks have 100%. So when you activate that self buff, you're actually, while some of that is going to your abilities, some of that 10% increase is going to your abilities, all of that 10% increase is going to your auto attacks. Alright? And that's really the key. Now, right off the top, you want to grab Shield of Achilles, just because it's going to be the more effective ability for clearing the buff right off the top. And we're going to, of course, grab Teleport, and I'm going to be grabbing very specifically Death's Toll. Alright? And then we're going to start, I'm not 100% sure that they're actually going to send... We're going to go with the safer start here. Alright. Now we're still going to be starting off with the increased health and protections because in the actual fight against enemies, we don't really need move speed. So even though we're going to be going with an auto attack start, we still don't want to start with the armorless version. We want to be the armored version very specifically for the increased health and protections. As nice as the extra power would be, in a boxing match, move speed doesn't really matter that much early game. So just keep that in mind, that we're still going to be using the tankier version of Achilles here for this. So, gonna go on ahead and start poking. Lure them over here, slap. Finish you off, deal with you. Alright, good. And then we're just gonna go right on in here. It's Horus, okay, good. Grab that nice poke there. Now, he's gonna have better wave clear than I am. That's just inevitable. We already know this. Except he's throwing it away for some reason. Not really sure why. That's weird. He completely threw that away. Alright, sure. Grab dodge next because we want to be able to do this. Keep that minion aggro on me. Use that health potion. Yeah, he's thrown away his advantage completely. I'm not really sure why. That's odd. Okay. I guess we'll just, poke him out here. And I guess poke his wave. He whiffed that too. I'm not really sure what he's up to. I'm not going to use the health potion here because he's so unhealthy right now that there's really nothing he's going to be able to do to stop me right now. what I'm going to do is go on ahead and poke this, grab this totem really quick. It's going to give me some healing back. My jungler isn't coming over. Okay. That's alright. That turned out okay. And you're still over here. And my jungler still isn't over here, which is fairly interesting. But he is showing up now, so there's that. There we go. Okay, we pulled that off somehow. That was really wild and woolly. But I'm not really sure what to say about that. That was... You're going in for that. No, you're not. You can steal that. You should be fine to steal. I'm just going to keep an eye on Horus. If Horus goes in for that, I'll go on ahead and join Loki over there. But Loki shouldn't need me over there. Yeah, that's fine. I can't believe I survived all that nonsense. And Loki even killed Lancelot in that, so that's going to put Loki really far ahead as well. Just come over here and grab this mana buff. Perfect. And Horus is, of course, out of mana at this point, so he's not going to be able to do much of anything at this juncture. It's going to keep him low on HP right now. Don't bother, Loki. It's not worth it. It really isn't. I'm not even going to bother using my ult on that. It's not even worth it. Gonna go ahead and clear this. Now I'm assuming Horus... Okay, Horus is building Golden Blade. Not that surprised. It's really powerful on him in the solo lane. It's probably what he's banking on, to be honest. But in the end, it's not going to make a big difference here. Fine. Back up all you want. I will just heal up quite nicely. Are you serious? And you took the minion wave with you. Bit of an odd choice, guy, but sure. We're going to go back at this point because we definitely have enough for this. And we also... Well, we don't have quite enough for that, but that's fine. Grab some wards. And here we go. And now I'm sticking with Soul Eater just because we do have the ability to obviously heal off of our abilities. I might switch this later, but this is fine for now. It's going to also give us penetration and cooldown. This is something we're also going to want. Because we are going to be building a sort of hybrid type build here. That's fine. There's Lancelot over there, so we can aggress as much as we'd like right now. At least for the time being. Okay, I was really hoping I could get him low enough to ult him, which is what he's worried about right now. Now, you might be wondering, why am I increasing the shield instead of the dodge? The dodge theoretically does more damage. Yes, it does, but the shield is just better at dealing with the wave and getting that poke in. It's sometimes fairly difficult to hit a reliable dodge spear, so I have just developed a habit of not relying on it for that reason. I'm going to want to keep him pretty down as well because I don't want Horus out-rotating me because he can out-rotate me fairly easily. And that's not something I'm going to want. Alright, they're really cleaning up in mid, which is good. Ah. That's fine. Taking a lot of minion poke here, but that's okay. So is he. Oh. Close call. Ah, shoot. And he still dies. So that's fair enough. He got a little bit more out of that than I did, obviously, because I was ahead of him. But that's okay. What is he building next? He just has Golden Blade and Warrior's Axe. Okay. We're going to go on ahead and get Berserker's Shield at this point. I don't know if he has his teleport up. I suppose it doesn't really make a difference in the long run. Let's see here what we're doing. It doesn't look like he had his teleport up because he did not teleport back, it looks like. So we're just going to clear this wave really quick. Yeah, he didn't have his teleport up. That's fine. You should not have done that. Oops. Here's a auto attack there. Get some nice poking on you here. You really shouldn't be letting me poke you this much. Bit of a mistake there. Oops, dodge right into that one. Alright. Yeah, you're gonna lose out on the long run here. If you're not careful with this. I'm just gonna keep on getting my mana and stuff back. Yeah, he has to back up. I'm assuming he saw Loki with his ward. Now you kind of needed that, didn't you? Yeah, that was a mistake on his part. Oh, alright. Oh yeah. Nope, sorry, not today, Zerg. Shoot. That's unfortunate, but that's going to put him... I mean, he killed me, yes, but on the other hand, it's only going to buy Horus some time. It's going to not get him any time, because he's going to die to minions back there. Or just about. Alright. Should I actually go for just full-on Aussie here? Would that work out? No, that would not work out. We have teleport up though, so that's fine. I'm assuming he stole my mana buff, but I really don't care, because I do have Death Stole, so... I'm gonna completely whiff that, that's fine. That's Loki getting revenge back there. Alright. No problem. You shouldn't have bothered with that. Alright, we're proxying this apparently, so we're just going to come over here and do this the old-fashioned way. Or not. Oh, no problem. That's fine. some poke down on you, and then we're gonna go ahead and grab this. You shouldn't really be letting me have this, but okay. Grab some mana here. No problems. Doing alright for ourselves over here. Yeah, you're not going to be able to beat me at this point with my Berserker's Shield, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah, he can't outdamage me at this point. I healed up too much, and I prevent enough damage that at this point he's got nothing on me. So he's at this point, we're now not gonna die in this lane unless Lancelot comes over, but even then we stand a really strong chance of surviving. I mean, I can't stop him from clearing the wave because his wave clear is straight up better than mine. But to be completely honest, that's fine. At this point, we out-sustain most of what he does. We don't even need that much mana for this either. I hear Lancelot right there, so I know he's in the area. Now, you might be wondering, Professor, why didn't you build Aussie initially? Why did you think about it after the fact? There's a couple of different reasons why. First off, the main problem with Aussie is that its power is abnormally low. Which, as nice as its lifesteal is, quite frankly, we still don't necessarily have... We're a solo lane, alright? We still aren't building a ton of power. Even though I'm building an auto attack solo lane, we still aren't going to be building that much power at the end of the day. We'll be building a lot of hybrid items, but we want to really supplement our healing with our ability damage here because that's going to give us just a bit more options in terms of our ability to heal up. Because again, we aren't going to be building exclusively damage either, so we do want to accentuate that overall. So in the long run, I'm going to completely whip that. In the long run, Soul Eater actually is more effective for the healing. I was thinking about switching to Aussie for the early game, at least temporarily, and then switching to Soul Eater later on, but honestly, that doesn't usually work out well. I was just remembering some past experiences trying that, so it's going to be a matter of really just utilizing what I don't know why you bothered with that. That was a mistake. He'll get some poke on me, sure, but I really don't care. And that's really what it comes down to, is just we need the ability healing to supplement our lower lifesteal that we would have from our lower damage amount, basically, is what that comes down to. And that's because just relying on auto-attack lifesteal alone isn't going to be enough, to be completely honest. We need that ability healing to make sure that we actually get the amount of healing we'll need consistently enough. Is Horus in there? Is that who they're fighting right now? Yes. Okay, well that's going to be the tower for me. Alright, never mind. That's down. Okay, they're going to need me for Lancelot in mid there. Or not. Or he'll just Quadra. Whatever. Huh. Slowkey's doing absolutely amazing. Alright. Was he waiting for the penta? No. Alright. So at this particular point, normally I would build some form of double protection, like maybe Mantle of Discord, or, say, Pridwin as examples. But because we're going to be... Well, I'm going to be going into team fights a bit earlier because I've just taken his tier 1. I'm actually going to go right into some more magic protections. I'm actually going to specifically be going into Shogun's Kusari. Now, again, Shogun's Kusari over, say, Talisman of Energy, because I still want those cooldowns. I still want to be bringing some ability damage to bear. I want my ult to be online so I can start really slapping some people when I really need to. You know, just executing people. So I am going to want that cooldown. This is another reason why it's nice to have Soul Eater over Aussie. Again, I almost went Aussie early game, but I decided against it due to not only the ability damage, but the lives, apparently puberty as well, and the lifesteal. So we're going to go for Shogun's Kusari at this point. Then we're going to start thinking about dual protections at this point in time. I'm rather fond of Spirit Robe, but you can use whatever. And then what we're going to be finishing up with very specifically is, I see they really dove for my tier 1 tower there. That's totally fine. What we're going to be going for at this point in time is, after we're done getting our cloak of whatever we want, we're going to be looking at getting very specifically Chin Size. Just to give us some nice damage output there that we really will be able to use quite effectively. And that's going to be a majority of what we're going to be doing there. Now, you might be wondering, well, Professor, what are you going to evolve Death's Toll into? Death's Embrace. We're not going to be going for the one that increases our auto attack damage because, again, we are a solo lane. We don't necessarily hit hard enough for that. So we actually want to be increasing our, we want to be healing back our health and mana based on a percentage of, on our total health and mana there, because that's going to help keep us alive. Again, we don't have the best amount of healing, self-healing available to us, so Death's Embrace is really going to help us out in that particular aspect. You're going to really see this take effect later on in the game. You'll see what I'm talking about, but it's a very specific build that, while unusual, works out quite nicely. I'm probably going to go for Mantle of Discord just to eke out a little bit more protections, though, to be honest. Grab this. And we're just going to go ahead and clear this wave. Because you're going to see how effective Death's Toll is by itself right here. Another interesting little point that a lot of people forget about Achilles is his auto attacks have an extended range. I hit my autos from farther away than most people. So even if you're facing against another enemy auto attacker... Okay, they actually surrendered there. Now I'm going to use this as kind of a prequel, because it is an unusual conversation to have auto-attack Achilles. It's not something a lot of people think about very often. But if you really actually sit down and contemplate this, it really makes a lot of sense. Okay? Now, we had a bit of a problem. Really, the competition here with Horus wasn't in terms of our boxing. Once I got Berserker's Shield, you could really see where Horus wasn't really able to do anything to me, while I was able to slowly chip away at his health. And the reason why is due to Soul Eater, my abilities, Death's Toll, and Berserker's Shield all combining really nicely. Even though he had Contagion at one point, it still wasn't enough to prevent me from healing enough to accomplish what I needed to do here. Alright? So this is just a matter of, even in the face of Contagion, being able to sustain myself through that. And really the flaw of Achilles as a solo laner, which you could see in this match, partially because going auto-attack Achilles emphasizes this, but... Look here, Blender. Anyways, back to the point. Seriously, it really is. But you could really this is unfortunately the downside of auto attack Achilles is because it emphasizes those auto attacks. Your already bad ability, your already bad wave clear is even worse. That is the one downside of this. Auto attack Achilles is better at boxing, hands down, and his ability to impact team fights is still as strong as it always is because you're looking to execute multiple enemies. But your wave clear is trash. And it is something you have to be very, very careful with. That's why Horace goofing his wave clear early on was such a big deal for me, and that's why I really talked about that quite a bit. That really opened the door for me to be able to compete with him in a wave clear way, which was really surprising. And as Blenderhand, my opposition, my landing opponent, pointed out, even with Contagion, even with Brawler's Beatstick, he still couldn't beat that because Achilles self-heal with this build, the weird thing is, it's a whole lot of little healing. You're not healing a ton with Death Toll here. You're not healing a ton with Soul Eater. Again, you're healing for 15% of your auto attack damage, 25% of your ability damage, plus your very small heal from your self buff. That's not a lot of healing. Anti-heal really doesn't prevent Achilles from healing that much with this, but because it's 3 different little heals all at the same time, combine that, and it's enough to sustain him through, but because this is all 3 separate little heals, anti-heal does really very little to stop this, and this is actually a really interesting way of circumventing anti-heal, which is why you're seeing this episode, because this is actually something I've recently discovered by accident a couple of weeks ago. This is why I've been looking forward to this episode of Achilles, is because I discovered this by accident 2-ish, maybe 3 weeks ago, while experimenting with Achilles. And I discovered that it doesn't really matter how much anti-heal the enemy has. You combine Death's Toll, Soul Eater, and his self-buff, and there's really very little anti-healing can do to prevent that. So if you want to circumvent anti-heal, you actually have to combine multiple miniature heals, and there's not every god can do this. Achilles is one of the few that can, very obviously. Horus could probably get away with this as well, just as because he's got his self heal, he's got the HP 5 from his passive. He could build Soul Eater, he could build Death's Toll as well. Same thing going on here. You would be able to accomplish the same thing, but this is how you get around anti-heal, is you build a series of little tiny heals, you combine them all, and anti-healing, because it's decreasing your healing by a percentage, it's really mitigating a percentage of a bunch of small heals individually, right? I mean, he had 25% down here, he had 40% down here, that's 65%. We're just going to assume 2/3. 2/3 of 2 health plus 0.4 of my maximum health. Look here. My max health at that particular point was 2,000. Okay, so we're just going to round up to 2,800 here. So 2,800 times 0.04. I think I'm... no, it's not it's 0.4% of my max health, yeah. 0.04. That's 4%. 0.004. There we go. That is a healing of 2 health plus 11 health. That's 13 health. Alright? I'm healing 13 HP per auto attack. I put my decimal point in the wrong place. You reduce that by 65%. I'm still healing 5 HP per auto attack. Alright? He's only reducing my healing by 8 HP. Okay? That's not a whole lot. My abilities. I'm only doing 20% of my ability damage. 10% of my auto attacks. My auto attack damage was... I'm sorry, 15%, not 10%. My basic attack damage was 200, so I'm only healing 15 HP per auto attack. Reduce that by 2/3. I'm still healing 5 HP per auto attack. So I'm healing 10 HP total per auto attack, just through the combination of these two. Plus my passive. I'm sorry, my self buff plus the ability heal from Soul Eater. It's just he can't stop me healing because it's all just so little healing going on, just multiple little heals. I'm going to be doing a follow-up episode here because you didn't get to see the late game of Achilles, unfortunately. And again, I was, like I said before, I was going to originally go for Asi. I decided against it because I wanted the cooldown. Generally speaking, that's going to be true. The only real exception to this is if your laning opponent is not tanky enough, your laning opponent is a mage or a hunter or something, Asi is the better choice because you do want to actually get that extra auto attack healing. You want that flat penetration from Asi more. Soul Eater is better against tankier opponents because obviously the 10% penetration actually means something early game because obviously he built Contagion as his third item. I was getting around that with this 10% penetration to some extent, but against a much squishier opponent who isn't likely to build protections in the role. Again, Hunters are a classic example. They very rarely build protections in solo lane. You would want Asi because they're not going to be building those protections. Soul Eater isn't going to mean as much, so you actually want Asi there. I just wasn't sure Horus was going to be building protections, which is why I kind of fiddled with the idea there, but then he did wind up building protections, so I'm glad I didn't change. But, that being said, again, at the end of the game, you build Chin Size, and that's really effective because you're doing 4% of their maximum health, which gets you down to execute range a little bit faster. Now, Chin Size, because it is 4% or so, I believe it's 4% still, of their max health per auto attack, that actually wears them down much faster than the Heartseeker. Let's take a look at the two really quick here, because I want you to really understand that difference there. So we have here, we're going to really quickly, I'm not going to save this because I'm going to have to readjust this anyways. We build this, we have our attack speed of 1.42. We build this, we have our, that doesn't increase here. Do we have the, can we get the boosted version? Yes. We would go for Death's Embrace here. Increase that, right? That's great. Actually, it's not even increasing our attack speed, so we don't care. Then we're going to go for the Chin Size. Boom, we have 1.61. Great. And then we're going to do a comparison here of the Heartseeker, right? Alright, so Heartseeker is 3% of the target's max health is physical damage, right? But this is based on your abilities. And again, we're really not going to be utilizing these all the time because your cooldowns are kind of slow. Chin Size, with a 1.61 attack speed, that's it's 3% now, not 4%. I keep forgetting that. 3% of the target's maximum health, right? So, let me put it this way. You're doing 3% of the target's maximum health every 1.61 seconds. I'm going to just round this down to 1.5 just as a really negative version so you can really see the huge gap here. So at a 1.5 attack speed, assuming, you're doing basically 9% of the enemy's max health in 3 seconds. Because that's 6% in 3 seconds. Whatever. Every 3 seconds, you're doing 6% of the target's max health. Every 3 seconds, 6%. Now, even with 30% cooldowns, which is what I was going to wind up with there, right? Even with that 30% cooldowns, we're still looking at pretty high cooldowns here. This very specifically is down to 10 seconds. This is down to 7. So even if we assume that we are hitting the opponent with Heartseeker 3 times every 7 seconds at 3% max health, every 7 seconds we're doing 9. Whereas in the same 6 seconds, we've hit the enemy 4 times with Chin Size, that's 12%. So in the same amount of time it takes us in an ideal world where both of these actually, we're just going to assume that these both have 7 seconds, again, to optimize this beyond what is actually possible. Just, again, there's that huge gap. Every 7 seconds with Heartseeker, you're doing 9% of the enemy's max health. Every 6 seconds with Chin Size, you're doing 12%. of their maximum health. Once they fall below 30%, you fatal strike them. Alright, chin size as a method of dealing damage in terms of percentage of maximum health is more effective for Achilles in the solo lane than Heartseeker is, especially when you consider the fact that Heartseeker increases that percentage, right? This percentage goes up with your physical power. Now let's build Heartseeker, let's build Soul Eater, let's build very specifically Glad Shield, because that's the ability thing you would have, and let's go really aggressive with Bluestone, right? Let's build all of these. Your power is still only 155. Alright? If you have over 200 physical power, your ability bonus damage scales up. After 200, you would need to build one more hybrid item at the very least, and it would have to be a pretty substantial one. Even the sledge here wouldn't be enough. We're still not breaking 200. You need to build an abnormally high amount of physical power for a solo laner to make this work. Or you shift to your your physical damage here, because that's going to give you 1.5 per level. It's going to be 30, 33 power. Grab the sledge. Now you're breaking 200, but just barely. You're still not getting like 4%. Well, you might be getting 4% on that, but that's still, you're sacrificing a lot of your potential protections to do this, which you don't really need to do with chin size. Again, you'll notice that besides chin size, I was going to be building Soul Eater, and I was also going to be using Death's Embrace, which would have been healing me. I mean, yeah, there was going to be some physical power there. It was going to be 65 physical power. It was going to be 200 health, though. And we were going to be healing 2% of our health and mana. Alright? In the late game, that's going to be a pretty good amount of health. Especially if we remain tank Achilles the whole time, where we get bonus health as well. At the end of the day, I've just found through consistent testing that auto attack Achilles, at least in the solo lane, is a hell of a lot more effective than ability-based Achilles. Again, I will be doing another episode of this, but I really wanted to hash out the math here for you so you can really see the difference here. And I also wanted you to be able to see that really the downside of this, which is your wave clear is going to suffer. It just is. You can't get around that. That is to some extent helped by Soul Eater, but at the end of the day, your wave clear is going to be a little bit interesting, so this is a little bit dependent on matchup. Enemies that wave clear really effectively but can also box tend to be very scary. Osiris is a big threat to auto attack Achilles. He's pretty spooky. But overall, auto attack Achilles in general is more effective than ability-based Achilles is. So I just kind of wanted to throw that message out there. With that being said, thank you all very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.